இருக்கு. சரி ராம், முதல்ல நீங்க கொடுத்த ரெக்குயர்மெண்ட் அன்பு தான் பண்ணாரு.
யாரு?
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நான் நீங்க ஒரு எக்ஸெல்ல போட்டு கொடுத்தேன் இல்லையா?
ஆமா.
ஸோ இப்போ அன்பு உங்களுக்கு எப்படி வேணுமோ ரெக்குயர்மெண்ட் என்ன எந்த டேர்ம்ஸ்ல வேணுமோ கேட்டுக்கூட.
அன்பு நீங்க தான் பண்ணீங்களா ஃபர்ஸ்ட்? யூ டிட் தி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்க்ராலிங் டெமோ இஸ் இட்?
அந்த இதுவா பிட்காயின் ரிலேட்டட்?
ஆமா ஆமா
ஆமா ஆமா எஸ்.
Okay. Anbu, which, I mean, how do you want to approach this? I mean, C# experience இருக்கா உங்களுக்கு இல்லனா you do it by Node? So how do you want to do this?
See, we can do it in anything, right? But the thing is that first நமக்கு எந்த மாதிரி இன்டர்ஃபேஸ் வேணும், எந்த மாதிரி பேட்ச் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்றது வந்து எனக்கு கிளியர் ரெக்குயர்மெண்ட் தேவைப்படுது. ஓகே, ஸோ அதாவது what is the website from where you need the data and what data you need and how it needs to be presented. அதாவது உங்களுக்கு எந்த மாதிரி அவுட்புட் ஃபார்மேட்ல வேணும். And you can also choose a technology, but technologyனா இந்த மாதிரி தான் எனக்கு வேணும், இந்த மாதிரி தான் எனக்கு பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி கூட நீங்க வந்து ரெக்குயர்மெண்ட் கொடுக்கலாம். So அத வந்து
my question, let me stop you there. My question is, do you have resources to do it in C# in .NET C# ல பண்றதுக்கு resources இருக்கான்னு கேட்டேன். And that's what I was.
Yes, we have resources, but predominantly நாங்க பண்றது வந்து Perl, Pythonல தான் மோஸ்டா நாங்க பண்றது நம்ம கிளைண்ட்ஸ்க்கு. நோட் கேட்டாங்கன்னா நம்ம நோட்ல பண்ணுவோம், and C# கேட்டாங்கன்னா கூட C# பண்ணுவோம்.
Okay, Python is not something we would want to go about, but either Node or C#. C# is preferable. If you can do it in C#, it's fine. Again, completely other day, I could just put it in a microservice and then scale it in such a way that it'll be able to handle load.
Okay.
Okay. Let me give you a quick. Nirmal, have you started recording this?
Yes.
Okay. Let me give you a quick runabout of what is being required. We have 3 requirements, out of which one is not ready yet because we have to do some prerequisites to get some background source lookup sorted before we can hand it over to you. But we'll talk about the first 2 requirements that you could start working straight away. Okay. The first one is to get the rich list data from bitinfocharts.com. Basically, we have a requirement that we have to extract rich list data from 6 of the bitcoins. I think we have like 7 Bitcoin based cryptocurrencies. Let's start talking about one. Okay. In the nutshell of the data is basically we need this information crawled for all 6 of the links that we've sent, and we have to you have to process the data into one of our tables that we have in SQL, and everything else will be taken care of by ourselves. But there is few requirements. Let's start talking about the background behind it. I'll be giving you a set of SQL scripts where you could run it on a boilerplate SQL database, and then all your necessary source and other lookup data would be there in your database. We've already provided that to Nirmal, which he would be able to use straight away post this call, apparently. Once you've got that, you will be able to understand what these tables are. So let's talk about the range crawling first, which is technically this, and we have provided you with the mapping like it in here. This is the table that the data should go into. Like it has an primary key that is auto increment, and you can ignore it. You don't have to do anything with it. And with the coin ID, which particularly means from the CI coin table. From the CI coin table, you could see each of. Hold on a second. How do I just hide this? Each of this is particular cryptocurrency, and each of it has a particular ID in it. So we'll come somehow give you a query where you could just get the information for these links. Each means a particular ID. So technically, you use that ID against that in the coin ID mapping. And then range ID is basically translating this range into a range that we have defined. So let's open that table for you to be more clear. Coin price range. Okay, Nirmal, if you're not talking, you can possibly go mute, please.
I'm already on mute. கேக்குதா நான் பேசுறது?
You பேசுறது கேட்கல, but maybe I think it's Anbu's distortion over there. Anyway, let me continue talking.
No, I'm not talking, so probably you might have this sound. Fan is running. I'm sorry, maybe that's the only sound you would be getting.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, mic தான் கிராஸ் போட்டுருக்கடா மேல.
என்னது?
Yeah, microphone மேல கிராஸ் போட்டுருக்கு, தெரியுதா இல்லையா?
Hey, now I'm sharing the screen. I'm not able to see other things.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, Anyway, what I was saying is that, so let's just say a simple example. If you come into this to crawl this particular stream, you would be basically getting into what this from and to value is. So that is the range. That is the range. 0 to 0.001 is a range. What you have to do is translate that into finding a particular ID from it. So 0 to 0.001 is basically ID2.
Okay.
You could use the from and to value against it, and once you found the ID, that's what it should go into in here in the range ID in the new table. So basically that means once you do the crawling, you translate the first column into your our set of IDs based on the range lookup that you'll get in the script, and then the address would be mapped to the address total field in the table, and then the coins would be mapped to balance total, and you could ignore another field called holding percentage total. You don't have to do anything about it. And the address holding percentage, which means the first part of this. So you just have to ignore what's inside the bracket and the percentage symbol, but you just have to get the first part of the percentage of addresses, and you'd be putting that into this field, address holding percent. And then timestamp is self-maintained. You can ignore that. It'll automatically, once you insert the row, it'll automatically put the time against it. So you can simply ignore that. So that is the basic mapping. And let me also show you the actual table where the data goes into, which is CI range balance data, which is range balance data. There you go. So this is the destination data where you'll be crawling the content into putting it in here. Once you got that logic running, basically one microservice, you'll be creating a microservice for us, which I'll be moving it as a microservice to Azure Function in C#. So, and this will be possibly be running in a scheduled fashion upstairs. Don't worry about how that is handled. The logic has to basically, once it's triggered, you have to go and get the data for all those 6 coins in the list. Now thinking about it, we have to come up with a way to give you a table where you could run the query and get all the links from it for this particular type. Otherwise, it'll be like a hard-coded thing that you'll be doing, right? Which I don't necessarily want you to do, because okay, I'll come back to that on that one. Basically, let's just assume that it's 6 coins, 6 or 7 coins that you're going to work on, 7 links that you're going to work on for the similar approach. The logic has to basically go into the website and extract that information and translate it into this format. So each link means it's specific to a coin ID into our system. We'll provide it, and I'll let you know at later stage and how we could run that. And the range ID is, like I explained, you have to find the range ID based on this lookup, this is also, you'll be there in the script. You'll be running it in a barebone SQL database in your instance, and you'll have everything that you need at that point. So that range ID would be that, and the address total, like I mentioned, address total is the addresses, and the balance total is the coins of that crawling. And ignore the holding percentage, and percentage address is just the first part that would be going into the address holding percentage, and timestamp is self-maintained. That's the first requirement. So the first requirement is basically crawling these seven links. Yes, these 7 links. But thinking of that, I was just wondering, should we just give you as this list as in a table, or if the list is going to grow, we don't want to revisit the product. I'll come back to that on the part. I'm thinking we could create a table in our repo where we could add these links, and you could simply go into that table to query all, and then visit the links and start crawling.
Yeah, that should be fine, because obviously you'd be adding some links in future.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because it has to match the schema that you're going to crawl. Because once you start performing a crawl on a website, if they change it, we might have, if we put some links that is not going to be matching the schema, then going to be a problem. So I'm thinking we should be creating a table for that, and with the associated coin IDs, so you could just use that coin ID against in here in the table. Okay, I'll come back to you on that, but let's just assume that you've got a lookup table, and that's where you go into select query all get all the links for all the coin IDs, and then which are all set as an active status, and you could just simply go into crawl that, and then translate the data into the required destination format in here. Either you'll be translating each link into a coin ID, and then a range would be recalculated based on what we have in here, and then the balance total and all the mapping are given in this format. That's the first requirements. Do you have any other questions at this point of time about the first one?
No questions as such. No, I just wanted to understand that if Nirmal is having all the requirements, like all the means the setup where I can replicate it in my system, so that we can.
Yeah, I've already sent him the scripts that I've created for.
See all the SQL schema you have shared with us.
Yeah, but I've already created all the full script, with all the schemas and the data that you might require. It's already there in the SQL script. All the table, if you just open a barebone SQL database, and then just select the database to run a query, and then just run this on it, and it also covers all the data requirements you have in it, and simply all the lookup data is there, all the prerequisites that is required for you to complete the work, even the destination part and everything. It's all in there. There's one of the script, and we also have another script to deal with to get all the linked-in URLs. That's about the second requirement. I'll talk you through that now. So far, the requirement is this: crawl 7 different cryptocurrency pages to extract Bitcoin rich list top level data, and then in our SQL. That's one of the top requirement. We would like to get the source code delivered in a way. You could create a repository online by yourself, like Bitbucket or GitHub, or anywhere, wherever you want to do it. Just you could create it in a source control of your choice. So once you've got it done, so we might probably move that into our own. I would be reviewing the code and see how feasible that would be going into an Azure microservice architecture, where we could run the function in a more scalable fashion, on a scheduled fashion out of the cloud. That is our idea for the first requirement. So far, Are you clear about what is being required, or do you have any other questions, or can I go on?
Yes. As of now, no, I don't have any questions. But then I just wanted to shoot one thing, like how much you would give the priority for technology like C Sharp and Node. So if you can say, should you have to make this in C Sharp, or do we have an option to make this in Node as well?
It depends. Node is basically we have two choices. And the problem is, if it's going to be it's done in C Sharp, right? I could just put it in a microservice in Azure Cloud, and then get it scaled independently, and then run it independently, because that would be preferable. But if you're going to struggle too long with C Sharp, and the second option is to do it in Node.
Playing from desktop GT9 VDQ8.
Okay. Second option is to do it in Node. Then we have to use our monolithic API layer that we already, so it is already serving quite a lot of stream of UI elements. Like it is the API is actually serving the website that we work on. It's also serving the API layer. Sorry, it's also serving the iOS app. It's also serving the Android app that we have. So that means that the Node API that we have is already being heavily used. So if we're going to put this infrastructure in there, then it's not the end of the world. We could do that, and then create a logic app in the apps in the cloud that actually calls a specific endpoint in the API, and then get the same logic running in the background, like in a scheduled fashion. We could do that too. Those are two options. So one is using C Sharp, which is much preferable in a way that it can be independently scaled and deployed, and it'll take a separate journey rather than our existing infrastructure. It'll be independent, like Lambda functions in AWS and other things. It'll be much easier for us. But if you come back to tell me that with C Sharp, I think we are struggling to find resources to get it done, or if you're finding it hard in terms of C Sharp experience or anything like that, you could just come back to me and tell me that, okay, I'm going to do it in Node. Will that be okay? Then yeah, that's not the end of the world, like I said. But if you want to offer it in Node, it's fine. But if you can do it in C Sharp, it's better. You'll have a 3-star from us. And if you're going to do it in Node, I'll probably give you a 2-star. But we'll be using you.
Okay, so that we'll take care. I mean, we'll
you come back to me later on that. You come back to me later on that, but the logic is going to be the same. The requirement is the same.
Yes.
But either way, whatever language you choose, we'll come up with a way. And I'll also spend time. Basically, if it's in Node, there is another way to do it. Even with Node, we could do it as a microservice in Azure. It's fine. But I personally myself haven't got that privilege of trying to do a microservice in Node and get it deployed and scaled automatically. It's basically, but if I could do it, then it shouldn't be a problem. So that would involve spending my time. I'm quite busy right now, so that's why I wanted to see if you guys can do it in C Sharp. It's fine, but
we can definitely do it. No, that there is not an issue about technology, but the thing is that most of our earlier endeavors or earlier things, whatever we give the client, mostly data, not as a service or not as a interface, right? So mostly we don't provide that way, because ideally there are some code bases which will be open. Again, we tend to have that as our kind of IP. But again, if the client requires, yes, we have given a couple of times, but then not as a interface or something, but we have provided as an exe where they can call it anywhere, anytime, something like that.
Let me be clear. This is going to be an open source thing. You have to provide us with the actual code.
I've already seen that. I've already seen that based on what you have done and what you about your stuff, right? When you talked about Bitcoin in Bitbucket and all these things, yes, it is going to be open source. So so we'll definitely we can provide that. That should not be an issue.
Okay.
But again, as I said,
I'll tell you what. Let us take this conversation in some other time to understand how you're going to do it either in C# or Node is not the reason for the call today. Let's talk about the requirements first,
Yeah.
and then I'll leave that with you, capable hands, and you can come back to me later and tell me how you can do it. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead with the next one. The next requirement. So far, do you have any other questions about the requirement front?
Not as of now. So let me get all the information from Nirmal, and then if there is anything, I'll definitely ping you.
Okay.
But I've understood the flow.
Yeah. Are you the developer who will be working on this one?
No, we have two guys who would be working on. Now, if they are not, the holiday seasons are there. So at times, if they are getting some more work, then definitely I will be involved.
The reason why I ask this question is basically I wanted to make sure that there is not any communicational gap in terms of technical
No.
clarity. So there has to be some.
I am the one who is going to give them.
Ram, don't worry about that. Anbu will be the point of contact. He will manage development side of things. Okay, so don't worry about that.
Okay. Fine.
So you find I'm the person who should understand it much better than anyone else.
Okay, fair enough. Well, if you have any questions, you can come back to me at any time. But all I worry about is not to cascade the information to other multiple levels, so it just takes longer time to finish because it's a small requirement. It's not like something really big. We strongly believe in chunking out the requirements in a fashion that it will be easily, give it to someone, get it done. Add it to your infrastructure, list of juggling puzzle, and then make them all talk to each other, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first one. Moving on to the next one. Okay. Islands. So, in a nutshell, we want to crawl the company employees of a certain cryptocurrency LinkedIn pages. Let's start with one.
Account ready ஆயிடுச்சாடா?
Dinesh has to get back on that. அவங்ககிட்ட இருக்குங்கறான், but let's see. அவனுக்கு அதோட seriousness புரியல. Once we put it in a bot to crawl the LinkedIn might easily figure out that this is a bot and they might block the account. So we might have to keep creating dummy accounts to get this process up and running.
So what's the frequency of the data that you're going to collect? Like how often?
Monthly once. Hopefully they won't figure it out. Monthly once. இப்போதைக்கு monthly once பேசியிருக்கோம், but it could be fortnight or whatever Dinesh uses to have it.
But again, if you're crawling like all at once, maybe it is little risky. But if you schedule it accordingly, like 2 or 3 in a day, Anbu will take your advice on this.
Well, எந்த டெக்னாலஜி பண்றோம், இது பண்றோங்கிறது பெருசு இல்ல, but the point is
Anbu is doing crawling for many years, so he knows which is the best way to do it. So
see, mostly LinkedIn, right?
Look at it. The total source is like 118 rows இருக்கு இந்த lensல. இந்த total data for now it is only 118 links. So in the 118 links, how would we assume that we're going to run a job once a month? Assume that we're going to run a job once a month. Once a month, what happens is we might have to in the link new. Let's just start with the Ripple Labs.
Can you open this in an incognito mode, please?
அது பண்ண முடியாதுமா. He's already Nirmal has already checked it. He said you definitely need an account to open it. So incognito is portal vechkoyen. You won't be able to see it.
Now this is there, right? So you wanted to what information you want to hear?
Yeah, that's what I'm showing you. just slow down. If you're not logged in, you won't be able to see the information.
Okay. Can you just go to that page, the other page where you have logged in?
Yeah, this is after logging in, then you have the option of in on your left hand menu, you have to click people to it. So once you log in, you visit the page. Once you visit the page, you go to people. And once you go to the people, you would see a list of where they live option in here. So you have this United States, United Kingdom, there is a number next to it, right? So you have to go into it and simply choose only the countries. I'll show you how. You can, I guess you can ignore the actual state or city or anything. You can just simply ignore it. So ignore the county or the state. You can simply just get the country, and then it's number of employees in that country for that particular coin, that particular company, the link. So how will you do it is we have, I've also scripted you a country lookup called country info. In a way, what you would do is similar to how you did the range and coin ID information. You just simply loop, get the entries of this, and find out which country ID that is associates to. For example, if it's United States, you would perform a like. You can't match the word to word by country name because they don't do that. So in here you'll see you'll have United States of America. You might have to, after crawling that information, you might say where country name like instead of actual comparison, because you have to be, this is a text-based comparison to see the get the country ID from this repo that we have. So you could say, when you say United. So you have two actually. So United States minor outlying islands. Either way, United States.
That we can take care. That should not be an
Just
issue.
take it out. Yeah, similar. You see what I mean, right? Just simply go
I get that.
And then get the ID from it.
Yeah.
Get the ID from it, and then the destination table is called CI key people geo. Let me open that table as well. In that, again, ID is an auto increment. Don't worry about it. And from the F foreign key is from the actual CI links social table that is again scripted for you. In here, there is the, okay, where is it? CI links coin ID. This is the actual coin ID that is referring to. So you would be looking into, this is the query that you'll be running to get all the LinkedIn links from the CI links. Links type 10, that means those are LinkedIn IDs, LinkedIn URLs, and then you could get all the coin ID. That's the coin ID that will go into the destination table that's associating it with a foreign key from the coin ID. Country ID is how you figure it out from a close match from your country name, from the country info table, which we just spoke about. So this is how you get that done. And people count is as simple as this value in here.
Yeah. So yeah, I got that, but there is something like San Francisco Bay Area. That doesn't belong to a country. So
that doesn't belong to a country. You can ignore that.
Okay.
So basically, how let's just see how they've done that. Possibly they might have some kind of information that tells us it's a country. One is a country, one is a county. Let's check that, shall we?
That we can figure it out. No, I just wanted to understand that if I have to ignore it or not.
There should be some way where one would be marked as a country. You just figure it out to see if there are any other indication for you to say one is a country, one is a state, and you can ignore the state. You can get only the country part, right? So in this four, you would be only getting United States and United Kingdom. I'd probably be ignoring that state part. I think that Dinesh would agree on that. I have to get back to him on that part, but eventually I think that should be the case. So just the country part that we need, that is a second requirement. So both requirements lets you insert the rows. So you don't have to worry about any updating anything. So you just have to simply get in. Oh, where's that? You simply go into adding the coin ID, range ID. Sorry, that's LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, the first requirement. Where's the geo?
So this is the source, right? So
That's
this
the
is just for
source.
collecting the source, correct?
Yeah, this is just for collecting the source. You don't have to do anything on it. Simply, you just have to run this query, get all the information for the link type 10. And the link type 10 would contain all the LinkedIn URLs for you and its associated coin IDs.
Mm-hmm.
So with that link, for that coin ID, you just go into putting it in the coin ID and then for the country ID, you just figure out a way to translate the country name to the country ID and then the people count and then timestamp is self-maintained.
So every month it's an insert. There is no update.
There is no update. So I was just I was asking Dinesh about that. Are we maintaining historic data on that one? And he said yes. He wants to store the historic data. So at some point, we could come up with something like a chart to show how many employees over the time increased in this country for this particular currency, this particular cryptocurrency, and we'll be able to show all those things at some process those data at some point. So let's not worry about that, how he's envisaged how we're going to use the data. But for now, this is how we're going to store the data. This is quite simple. Coin ID, country ID, people count. And you translate this into putting it in here in a monthly basis.
Okay.
Okay. You've got all the information you need. You've got the prerequisites are all created and it's all in the script. Like we discussed about the mapping, coin ID comes from the CI coin. Actually, this one is from actually the CI links for this one. But anyway, you know that you get the idea. You can get it from the CI links. And country ID, like we discussed, coming from the country name, close match. People count from crawling and timestamp self-maintained. You can ignore that part. And there is one more piece of the puzzle. When you crawl the balance range total crawling, once you've finished off with the crawling, you have to perform a small another step of housekeeping. You simply say delete the data that is before a month with the timestamp less than current date minus 30 days.
Okay.
So we at a point, it has to self-maintain itself. So the data should not be more than a month that to be stored in that data. Again, those are just for the coins that you will be having it in only for those 6 coins, not for rest of the coins. The other coins which have balance data being put in that table with different logics and microservices. It shouldn't be disturbing that. So always make sure whatever the scope of the requirement is associated only with the 6 coins that we mentioned. So the housekeeping also means just for that 6 coin, it should not maintain more than a month's data.
Okay.
Okay, is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. That's about it. There is this third requirement. We would get a chance to talk about it. It's a similar approach, but some of the lookup information is not ready for us to start the requirement yet. So we can have another call at that point when it's ready to be handed over. There's only, for now, it's just the 2 requirements. And you can go ahead and do your magic on that one. Okay, that's about it. And with the LinkedIn stuff, I guess you would be just going into login page and then log in and then get into collecting all the links and then doing it that way. I don't know if LinkedIn would let you log in without any captures or anything, because if it comes to captures and things, then you might get into trouble automating it.
Okay, that we'll take it in the next part, like probably.
Cookies, sign in. After signing in, does it ask for anything else? Okay. No. Looks like it lets you sign in with the username and password, so that you should be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other questions so far?
Not as of now. It's we are just making the first two right now, right? So the third
Yeah.
one is not it.
Yeah, third one's not ready yet. So I'll come back to you on how the third one's going to be done in a couple of weeks time. So I need some time to prepare the lookup for that. So so it won't be ready for you. So once by the time that you finish this work, I guess what do you think? How long do you think it might take to get it done? Like a rough estimate. I'm not asking you for something like an official estimate, but I was just wondering. It looks like a feature is quite small for both. And what do you
See,
think?
ideally, if you ask me just the data alone, again, it is not too much of work. But then, as I need to understand, how I'm going to give it as a service or C# stuff. So that would take some time because I need to see the load of the resources. So we are actually tying up something tomorrow morning as well. So I need to check with them, and then based on their availability only, we have to decide. But I've understood what is the actual requirement. We'll update you by maybe tomorrow or the after.
Okay, that's fine. You take your time, but ultimately, don't start any work without agreeing a code with our guy.
100%. Yes.
So
Yeah.
just
Ram, in the meeting, முடிய போகுதுடா. Can you just wind up in a minute?
yeah, looks like we have 2 minutes, is it? Remaining meeting time. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks for your time, Anbu.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll again catch up at some point to see how we are going ahead. And I need constant communication and constant update on how things are progressing once it's happened. Once the ball starts to roll, I need quite a visibility of what's going on. And if you have any doubts, you can have keep in constant contact with each other, which would be right.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Thank you very much.